Brett and from Anchor Point. Today we're going to show you a practical installation of how to install an anchor point. So if you follow me, I'll be assisted today by my two assistants, Mr. Kane and Mr. David. Right here we have a motorbike trailer, and this motorbike trailer, as you can see, is not locked and it has no garage door, so it can be easily stolen. So today we're going to look at how to anchor this trailer. Normally you have a different towage, so it's easy just to put it through the towage, but today this one is different. We're going to go through the frame of the trailer. So we want to place our item where more or less where we want it, and just to see what's the best way of installing this product. So gloves please, thank you. We're going to look at putting this, which direction to put it. You can put it in that way, or you can put it in this way. This way to us seems the most practical, because we want to chain this product and we want to chain it through the chassis of the trailer. That seems to be pretty much spot on where we want it. And we want to show you how to install the anchor point through the paving, because obviously the paving is not thick enough to take our rod anchor. So we're actually going to install it into the concrete using our concrete anchor bolts. So just to show you again our concrete anchor bolts, what they look like. They're going to go through the product like such. Okay, the finished product is going to look installed like that. These things we're going to install into the concrete itself. We've already made a mark now where we need to go. So we're going to measure now. For us, the best design now is going to be 400 wide, and just for aesthetic purposes we're going to go 300. So we're going to need to mark with our Koki pen where we need to go. Okay, like such. And we're going to measure across 400, which is fantastic, so we'll need to measure this one. We've pretty much got our marks now where we need to take the paving out, which ones we need to take out. This one we're going to cut. Okay, so we're taking out these pavements. The equipment we need, pretty simple. We need a hammer and chisel, angle grinder just to trim the paving up nice and neat, crowbar just to take out the paving itself. We've got an impact drill machine, if there's any rock or anything under there that we need to move. We've got a trough float, a bucket, and some concrete mix. So right now I'm going to hand over to David and Mr. Kenya to cut out and to be able to fit the product. So we'll come back when the hole is dug. We've managed to take out all our paving now. As I explained to you earlier, this is 55 millimeters, not deep enough for us to actually put a proper anchor point in. So we have forced to put in concrete. Our hole now is 400 by 300. Obviously our anchor point is going to go in the middle. We need to now dig this soil out about 250 to 300 millimeters deep. So we're going to carry on with that, and while you go have a cup of coffee. Welcome back. What we're going to do is just check our hole. It's 300 millimeters deep. We're very happy with that. Mr. Kane and Mr. David have mixed up this concrete. Just make sure it's well mixed at a 5 or 4 or 5 to 1. Make it nice and strong so that we're not going to pick up any problems long term. While they're mixing up some more concrete, we'll come back for the installation. Welcome back. So we've poured our concrete mix now, and we made sure that we floated it nicely and got it to the level that we do want it. Remember not to add too much water, and make sure that you pat your cement to get all the air bubbles out so it doesn't make like a crunch and weaken. Remember, we're using on this anchor point, we're using our anchor-in bolts, which will go in. What we do recommend, however, the easier way is just to cast the concrete slab and let it to dry for a few days. And just use your drilling anchor points. They're far easier than following this process. But if you do, we've learned a technique, and that is to use a piece of branding, which is a 38 by 38 piece of wood, which is relatively inexpensive. And that's the reason we use that is because the anchor point is very heavy and it tends to press into your concrete. So we're going to install this now. We're going to try and find more or less where the middle is. When we do, we're going to shake it that it goes in nice and snug. Okay, well, finding that it's looking pretty good now. How's your side there, Mr. Kane? How does it look? Needs to go down a little bit more. Right, and then just because the ground is not level, we're just going to put in a little bit of a cardboard just to keep the product from sagging too much. How does it look, Mr. Kane?
Nice, it looks okay.
Looks okay. Remember, take your float again. Make sure just to make sure the concrete is a little bit of patting. Make sure it's anchored in nice and tight. You float it. Remember to check your heads on your anchor point to make sure that they are sinking nicely. How does your side
Yeah, in nicely.
And
This side.
it looks great. Pretty much in the middle. Happy with that? You happy?
Yes.
Right, we're going to leave this and let it dry. If we leave it overnight, in the morning you can just pull your wood out and you're good to go. Remember that it takes a couple of days for concrete to cure to its correct strength. So remember, for the next, say, it takes 21 days for concrete to cure. So for the next 7 days, it's going to be strong, but not that strong. As I said, it's as simple as that. You leave it overnight. Thank you. Any questions, you can either contact us direct on our technical line or just drop us an email. I'm gladly get back to you. Here from Anchor Point, welcome. We're going to show you how to install in our concrete surface. Remember, for the concrete slab that we've thrown, this is 300 by 400 by 300 deep. We're going to use the longer wedge anchors to which to seal this. We've already measured. We found our middle point. We're going to put our anchor point now in the center of this. It can be more or less. We're going to mark it with our Koki pen where we need to go. Like such. We're using a 12mm concrete drill bit to actually get our point of reference. So I'm going to hold this while Mr. Kane just drills some pilot holes. There you go. Right, we want to make sure that let's have a look at the drill point. We want to make sure that we've drilled it deep enough that the anchor point actually goes down into the surface, right? So we've removed the bolts and the washer. Push the anchor point in like so. We take our anchor point now. We're going to put it on to see where it needs to fit. We need to put the bolts on just a little bit, not much, just enough, couple of threads just to give it some beat. And then we'll take a hammer and we'll just knock them in. On your fingers, Mr. Kane. Right, we take a 19mm socket which fits over on top of this. Okay, we then loosen this bolt out, this nut. Okay, put the washer on there. Then we're going to put on a shear off nut. Remember, the shear off nut, once it's sheared off, makes this product tamper proof. So Want to make sure that it's not cross-threaded. It goes on pretty easy. The same with the other one. Right, takes the same 19mm socket set. We're going to tighten these now. As you can see, starts to tighten. And as you tighten it, shears the nut off completely, making this product tamper-proof. There you go. And that's a simple anchor point installation.